I would soon find out that recovery is a spiritual, not a religious process, right? So I went into recovery with my children. I went into a facility for women with children, and I was allowed, they actually made room for me and my children, and I was allowed to take 3 of my 4 children with me. And at the time that I got clean, my children were 2, 3, 4, and 8. So I took my 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-year-old in with me, and my 8-year-old went to temporarily stay with my grandmother, and she came to be with us on weekends. But I began the process of trying to heal from the trauma of losing my parents and losing my brother, to begin to try and heal from the trauma of the molestation as a child, and to be able to try to heal from the trauma of being raped at 18 years old as I was coming home from work by 2 strangers on the street. So I say all that to say that I am not unique, and I know that a lot of people out there have suffered some of the same tragedies that I suffered, and my story is just to let you know that you can do it too. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter, who you're connected to. What matters is that you have everything inside of you right now in this moment to be successful. You have everything inside of you to be able to live your life to the fullest. And I would soon find that out through my recovery process. And when I went into this facility, I was more than willing to do whatever they told me to do, because I did not want to go back to 5957 Windsor Avenue. I did not want to put my children in jeopardy anymore. I did not want to put myself in jeopardy anymore. So I started on the process of recovery, and I was told some simple things in recovery, like get a sponsor, get a home group, get in service, and I did all of those things. I did everything that I was told, and I began to meet people who were going back to school and who were being good employees and being good parents and being good spouses and learning how to live life on life terms without the use of a mind or mood altering substance. And I began to do the things that those people do. I came into recovery at 28 years old with an 11th grade education. I dropped out of high school to sell drugs so that I could take care of my family, so I could take care of my mother and my younger sister. When I got clean, I finished the program, which was the first thing that I had ever finished in my life at 28 years old. And I went back to school, and I took classes for GED at CCP, and I took the GED test. And I scored so high on the GED test, I scored within the top 3% in the nation. So instead of giving me a GED, they actually gave me a high school diploma, and they inducted me into the Phi Theta Kappa sorority. Phi Theta Kappa honor society. And I had always wanted to go to college as a child. I wanted to be a doctor. And I said, you know what? Other people around me in recovery were doing wonderful and positive things. They were going back to school. People told me that they would support me through that process. I made a decision to go back to school because I knew that the only way that I was going to be able to provide a good life for my children was to be able to get an education. And at 28 years old, with 2 jobs and 4 children, I started college. And I went to college. I went to CCP for 2 years, full time. And I graduated from CCP in 1999 with a associate's in behavioral health and human services and a certificate in drug and alcohol treatment. And while I was at CCP, I said, I might as well keep going because an associate's is not going to be able to provide the life that my children deserve. And I met with an academic advisor, and I actually wanted to go to Drexel University because they had a psychology program. But I soon found out that the psychology program was not for adult students, that you could not finish that program with flexibility. And my advisor said to me, Movita, you should apply to go to Penn. And I looked at him like he was crazy. I said, Penn? Me? I can't go to Penn. I can't get into Penn. And the irony was that as a child, I wanted to go to the University of Pennsylvania because it's the premier school in Philadelphia. It was in the top 3 colleges in the nation as I was growing up. But while Penn was a 10-minute trolley ride from my house, it may have well been in London, in London or Paris because it was inaccessible to little black girls who lived in my community, right? And my advisor said, oh no, you can get into Penn. He said, I've seen your writing. He said, you have a 4.0 GPA. He said, you can get into Penn. He said, apply. And I gathered my courage, which recovery had given me, and I applied to Penn, and I got into Penn. And I spent the next 4 years at Penn. And I initially went in, and when I went in, I had to eat most of my credits because they would not, my credits from community college would not easily transfer over to the University of Pennsylvania. So they initially accepted 12 of my 90 credits from CCP. And then I petitioned the school, and they accepted several more. And it was literally like starting over to go to Penn, but it was worth it for me, right? Because being a black woman, I knew that that degree from the University of Penn would open doors for me and my family that would otherwise not be opened. So I went to Penn, and I got an associate's in 2002 from the University of Pennsylvania. And then started my bachelor's program, and then I had a conversation with my academic advisor at Penn because I knew that I wanted to get a master's degree, but I did not want to spend the next 7 or 8 years of my life in school. My children were growing up. I did not want to take more time from my children than I actually had to. I had a husband at home, and I really wanted to be present and available for my family. Right? And what I also didn't share a few minutes ago was that prior to me getting my first degree from the University of Pennsylvania, I made sure that I had 2 solid jobs so that I could come off of welfare. And I also lived on Section 8, and I wanted to voluntarily come off of that. When I got on Section 8, I gave myself 5 years to be on the program. Because what I said is that I want my children to be able to stick a key in the door of their own. Right? And that Section 8 voucher was something that someone else coming behind me could use. So I voluntarily came off of welfare, and I came off of Section 8. I bought my children their first house at 60th and Elmwood. And when I graduated, when I got that associate's degree and talked to that advisor about that bachelor's degree, I said, I'm going to eventually want a master's. So what's the easiest, way to be able to do this? And mind you, I was in school full time. I was taking 4 classes every semester, and I was taking 4 classes in the summer as well. And my advisor said, you're going to commit academic suicide because you're taking on too much, and you might want to slow your pace, you might want to go part-time. And I said, I don't have the time to do that. I have 4 young people at home that need me, and that need me to be present. So I found out about something called submatriculation, and submatriculation is when you can work on 2 degrees at the same time. And that's exactly what I did. I applied to the school for submatriculation. I applied to the school for them to lift the bar so that I could take more than 2 classes in the summertime. And I submatriculated and worked on my behavior, my bachelor's degree in applied sciences, and my master's degree in social work, both at the same time. And I'm sharing all of this to say because there's somebody, right, that's within the distance of my voice. There is someone out there that's telling themselves, I can't do this, right? There's somebody saying, I can't overcome this hurdle. There's somebody saying, I got kids, I can't do this. There's somebody saying that there are too many barriers and roads blocking me from doing this. I'm telling you that you can do this. There is nothing so special about me that you can't do it too, right? So that's the one thing about me sharing my story, and why I've always shared my story so freely, is because I know that my pain, my struggle, my sacrifice can help someone else overcome their journey, right? Help someone else to overcome their obstacles. And in May of 2004, I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with 3 degrees.